So in this video, I want to know, was it worth it? Everything that Doge did, all the firings that Trump has been doing, and all the new investments in AI. Is it worth it? So as I once said before, these are your new founding fathers. Everybody you see on this board, and I could add a few more, have definitely been becoming America's financial security blanket. However, it seems they're not doing as well as they thought. Let me explain.
A critical meeting that could determine what vaccinations your kids will receive. But there are new questions this morning about that potential guidance after former CDC Director Susan Monterez accused Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of putting politics over science.
He is causing a bunch of deaths. And by way of, let's just say, playing with the information where he's allowing these second rate, unvetted medicines to come through and just cutting out all the thoroughbred medicines that have been vetted, and all because of a paycheck. So, in light that nothing else goes through without his express personal opinion on it, he did this.
Third thread concerns the ouster of CDC Director Susan Monterez. And so the emails show that Kennedy's then chief of staff, Matthew Buckham, emailed Monterez in August 2025 about the need for what he called a political review of major decisions at the CDC. So to ensure that, quote, the immediate office of the secretary and CDC political leadership all have eyes on the decisions for approval and changes before they go into effect.
That, in effect, is saying we got to watch what we're doing because we have people paying us to not do it. We have other medicines that's unvetted that's paying us a lot of money to suppress these and push those.
So less than a week later, Monterez was fired.
Go figure. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, Senator Sanders, he described this dismissal as her being terminated for, quote, failing to rubber stamp ACIP recommendations. That would be the new ACIP recommendations, right? So Monterez later testified to the Senate that Kennedy pressured her to agree to upcoming changes to the childhood vaccine schedule and to commit to firing CDC scientists. And when she refused, she says, Kennedy told her he had already spoken to the White House about her removal.
You see, this is how to become a trillionaire with your money, because all the funding that is set for all these FDA approved drugs comes from your tax dollars. So if we're just going to ignore that and go with our own self-conscious of, okay, pay me and it's home, then you're being robbed. Meanwhile, all the people in Congress are investing in these new drugs in order that they can get rich. Your health be damned. In a manner of speaking, I'm just going to say it blunt. These are the biggest trillionaire welfare babies, billionaire welfare babies, millionaire welfare babies, because they are all dependent on your tax dollars. The biggest welfare baby of them all is
it's Open AI, looking to give up a 5% stake. I think language really matters here. It's not the government taking stakes. It's the company looking to give up a 5% stake. Question is why?
Well, to get favor from the government. And clearly, there is a path that really represents this. There's a precedent for this. It's in Intel. The president was really upset with Intel's CEO and jawboned them and talked terribly about them. And then suddenly the U.S. government took a stake in Intel. And now he has only wonderful things to say about Intel. And that gives you a sense of the potential currency of giving up 5% stake. There's a huge asterisk here. It wouldn't just be OpenAI. They're proposing that all of the tech companies give a 5% stake to some sort of domestic sovereign wealth fund. That's going to be a harder sell.
Is this about sharing the gains or sharing the potential burden down the road for a company that people are asking a lot of questions about?
I think likely they're going to try to sell, and Sam Altman did that yesterday in a Financial Times opinion piece, that this is about the gains. This is about making sure that if they are building these AI models off of all the growth in society, whether it's reporting, culture, et cetera, that everyone, also, if you look at opinion polls, they also feel that maybe they should get some upside in this. But this is making sure that they get better regulatory approval. This is making sure that they get green lights. And of course, if the AI trade is potentially a bubble, they are sharing in the downside.
The fact that the AI bros aren't doing too well because they've run out of investment money and everybody is trying to go with the IPO route that Elon Musk did, which has not turned out great for them. And therefore, the other ones have postponed their IPO releases and they are now shopping for subsidies. That's what's going on here. Who can get the big government contracts? Because the bubble's about to bust. And you know that by the way they're scrambling.
No, I'll tell you the difference. And it is God, they're always minding me out there. But like, okay, when we first met, it was like AI may be real. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I would say somehow until about 2 weeks ago, there was like a holy fuck, this is real, but somehow it's not working, but we're not allowed to say it publicly.
Somehow it's not working, but you're not allowed to say it publicly. This is one of the head frontrunners of Palantir, who has one of the biggest government contracts on the planet. And he is literally sitting here telling you it's going to bust, but we can save it. That's what he's trying to say. The only thing they're going to really do is get subsidies to stay alive.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of investor hype.
Yep.
There still is like investors printing tendies. So
Yep.
you have the investors on one side. I think people realize it's real, but it's like, you have the whole token maxing.
Yep.
And people are on to that. And then, so there's a whole value lecture there.
Yep.
So this is being tied to increased scrutiny over AI by the administration.
So if you didn't notice the way he was trying to tell you all the bad stuff, but not go into detail, that's why I'm showing you this particular clip.
And a cycle of politics as well. What do you think it's about?
It makes zero sense. I think what it's about is that OpenAI has one of the worst government relations strategies in general that I've ever seen. Yes, they are right that there is tremendous public anxiety around AI. It polls terribly. However, giving the money to the U.S. government, anyone who's worried about losing their job because of AI or seeing their electricity bills go up because of data centers that power AI, we're not going to, oh, well, now that the U.S. Treasury has $45 billion, I feel much better. It doesn't address any of the actual concerns about it. And at the same time, politically, OpenAI, the more it ties itself to Trump, unless there is something they need from him right now that I'm not aware of, it's going to backfire because there's an extremely high chance that the next president will be a Democrat. They're going to go after every single company and person that is super tied to Trump.
You see, just like Trump made all the promises and stuff, the Democrats have all made promises in this election cycle saying that they are going to get all the people that are robbing your tax dollars. And it's the AI bros, Trump and his sons. Those are at the top of the list. So they're going to have to be able to get the Senate and the Congress in order to investigate, because Trump with this AG, Todd Blanche, ain't investigating jack unless it's for his enemies, period. So the ex-lawyer that is now the acting AG that will be up to become the AG in about another week is definitely not going to investigate none of this stuff, which is why people have been paying Donald Trump to get out of prison. Hello. So all that money that has been filtered through all this crypto can begin to get investigated and see exactly how the scheme has been working all the way up into this fraud 205th on the National Mall fraud. We can see how Donald Trump is trying to pay back all the people that paid into getting him this presidency, all the donations that was given to him through his campaign. He is trying to make sure that they get double fold back and take his little cut in the process.
And OpenAI is just putting a massive target on their back. I don't understand this at all.
If you're a current investor in OpenAI, what would you say to something like this?
Well, one, unless all of the dilution is coming out of Sam Altman's pocket. You're getting diluted because of this. So that's number one. Number two, I would say that, look, if there is something specific that they want approval for that we're not aware of, and OpenAI can tell the investor, look, here's why, and here's why we're going to generate so much more revenue as a result. Okay, that might make sense.
Cynical, a lot of takes on this. What would be the best way, the best possible light to put this deal in?
Sure. So OpenAI has repeatedly said here that they want to make sure the American public has a stake in the benefits of AI-driven growth in the economy. So they're trying to position this technology, which they obviously really believe in, as this thing that everybody can share in. They believe it's going to cure diseases and lower costs for Americans. But the other thing I would call out here is that for OpenAI, this could help them earn some goodwill with the Trump administration.
That is a statement that is for 20, 30 years down the road. Maybe. They're still training the AI. We're still trying to figure out how can they stop making it make porn for kids. So that statement right there, that's just like Elon saying, we're going to Mars. Not in this lifetime.
Taken a much more heavy-handed role in AI regulation since President Trump signed the AIEO in June.
The AIO, the Artificial Intelligence Executive Order, President Trump signed in June, is an executive order 14409 titled Promoting Advanced Artificial Intelligence, Innovation, and Security. Signed on June 2nd, 2026, the directive aims to promote U.S. leadership in AI innovation while addressing national security and cybersecurity concerns. Its key provisions include: it establishes a voluntary framework for AI developers to submit their most powerful frontier models for federal government review prior to public release. In other words, give me your best sales pitch and we'll see who all gets a government contract. And there is a no mandatory license.
So that is one area where we talked to Alex Kantrowitz last hour. He said, how can the government regulate a firm that it also owns? Like, isn't that a conflict of interest?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, OpenAI is navigating its own bout of challenges with the administration right now. We don't really know.
The government is literally talking about, regulating all this AI, but yet you're going to buy it. And I'm quite sure they're going to buy it, and then it's going to be their government program. And so the government's going to regulate itself with the AI now. Nobody's going to be watching or investigating on how far they go with the AI as far as your privacy and stuff. Who's going to regulate that?
Time, right? What the actual financial picture of these companies look like.
Well,
they wouldn't be the first with bad financial profiles to go public.
Well, they'd be the first to be this bad, other than WeWork, and even then, this is so much worse than that.
They would be the first to go public to be worse than WeWork, which was about as bad as it gets. That is unbelievable.
OpenAI burned $20.9 billion in 2025. That's the audited financials that the FT&I reported. And the problem with these companies is their margins are getting worse, and their costs increase linearly with their revenues. There is no proof that they can improve their margins. No amount of specialist silicon or supposed Vera Rubins will bring these costs down. And we're at a point now where OpenAI is now potentially pushing their IPO to 2027 because they couldn't get.
And look at the numbers that they have on screen here. 13.07 billion. That's your revenue. Okay, OpenAI last year. Loss 38.5 billion. You're just burning through cash.
That is ridiculous. And we are about to use your tax dollars to buy these programs for no other reason but to surveil you. If your company lost 38 billion and only gained 13 billion, you wouldn't even be in business.
It's insane.
A headline from Elon Musk, and it is dramatic. He says America is going bankrupt.
The latest warning shots came from Elon Musk.
America's going bankrupt, so that just can't happen.
The message is clear. Control the spending now or go bankrupt.
We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt.
Okay, so this was the last script. The United States is projected to pay over $1 trillion in net interest on its national debt because the overall national debt exceeds 38 trillion. That was the scare tactic they used to create Doge. You understand this, right? we were not going to default on that $1 trillion. But I just want to show you how the grift of your tax dollars gets put into play behind fear mongering. So we all know that Elon Musk made it because of government subsidies, correct? Elon got over $38 billion of welfare check from you, your tax dollars, to create SpaceX, Tesla, the Neuralink, all of it, X. And that's what's been keeping him afloat, because the only company that makes any money as of late is the satellite company. That's it. Elon posted a wall of receipts when he was doing the Doge thing to tell you how much money he was going to save. And he said initially he was going to save almost $300 billion. His wall of receipt posted that he saved you, the taxpayer, over $215 billion. That's about $1,335 each, supposedly. He said he did it by canceling software license, ending real estate leasing deals, cutting diversity programs, and executing massive federal workforce buyouts. But then the real receipts came out, $8 billion on a single immigration contract that was posted to his $250 billion savings. But in reality, it was only $8 million. That's how they were doing it. Then they listed another canceled contract at $6 billion, which was only $6 million. And the list goes on and on, like the USAID contract, he listed as $665 million. That was only 18. I guess that's what you get when you hire interns that are, nobody's and not vetted by the government. But wait, they didn't count the unforeseen expenditures either. For example, $21.7 billion in government waste during the first 6 months. $135 billion related to paid leave lawsuits, productivity losses due to layoffs, and $10 to $11 billion in keeping federal workers on paid leave. He didn't add that in. The $150 million resulting from wasted or abandoned resources, including the destroyed USAID supplies and abandoned healthcare initiatives, equipment, vaccines, paid advertisement. They let all that go when they killed the USAID. That was already paid for. That was a waste. Yeah, about $150 million gone. We added up everything to date, and Doge saved a cool $2 billion. That was it. From the $215 billion that he said he saved, it was actually only $2 billion after all of that. But the $2 billion has been ate up by what I just read to you, the $135 billion, $150 billion, the $21 billion. So actually they were way in the red. That was the grift. But what did Elon get? Oh yeah, that's right. He got to be in charge of regulations. So he gutted the whole regulations department, the whistleblowers and everything. So none of the sanctions that he was supposed to go to court for ever got seen. That's what Elon got. And that was over $2 billion worth of sanctions. Still don't have a car that self-drives. A rocket that goes up and down. He got a new town out of this. And now wants $1 billion in subsidy to keep his SpaceX going. Yes, we're definitely investigating people when this administration gets control. I promise you that.